routine while I tell you about the scene that inspired this entire book, inspired all of Unraveling Ember, and never made it into Unraveling Ember. It is sometime in 2021, and I am driving to Chipotle, where I worked at the time during college, and I'm listening to Christina Perri's The Lonely, and I'm going to insert a snippet of the song for context, because this song is also kind of what inspired everything, because I was in traffic and doing what all Pisces do, and I was like scenario building, daydreaming, etc. Song. Now that you get to know what the song's about, I imagine our main character Ember in her dance studio alone, and it's at nighttime. She's snuck out, which she's not supposed to do. She snuck out in there, and she's using her powers to play the piano while dancing. So obviously no one's at the piano. She's dancing, she's letting out, like, her frustrations, using dance as a form of expression to kind of get out all of her worries or whatever. And not really paying attention, which is something that Ember kind of does during book one. She doesn't pay attention a whole lot sometimes. And doesn't realize that her guard is right there. He found her. He's leaning in the doorway, watching her, watching her dance without a pianist at the table. And he just keeps watching her. She keeps dancing until she finally, of course, notices him, abruptly stops, and turns to him. And of course, she has absolutely no explanation for the lack of pianist, the music. And so she tries to say, something good. No, the person, they must have just left. Through what door, Ember? And, there is no other fucking door, And she tries to talk her way out of it. Obviously, there's no way for her to do that. And he stalks over to her, and again, who was playing the piano? Ember. And he knows like what's going on, but she's like afraid to tell them the truth. No one has ever known about her powers before. And that's pretty much as far as I got to work. I wrote that down in my notes app, and then I went about my merry way of making burritos and checking people out, because that's what I did at Chipotle. And then eventually I started writing the book, and I never made an outline. I was one of those writers, or I am one of those writers, even still, as I write book 2. I have a plot point in mind, and I write until I get to that plot point, and then I fill in, essentially, from there. And as I wrote, and I started realizing, like, the route that I wanted to go with this, I realized that it wasn't going to make sense. He couldn't know about her. He couldn't know who she was or what she was, because the way that I wanted this story to go. And so that never made it in there, which is insane. Like, that an entire book to be based off of this scenario that I daydreamed, and it never made it in there. And I really wanted it to make it in there because I thought it would be such an angsty type of scene, like he stalks up to her and, maybe he corners her. It's a room of mirrors for crying out loud. Like, how hot that would be if something happened in that room? From every angle you could see what's going on in there. And so I was so upset, honestly, when I realized that scene wasn't going to be, like, in there. And I've thought actually about writing it anyways and putting it on my website. So that way, like, you guys could read, like, what would have happened. And you know what? Maybe I will do that just for fun, because that would be, like, a fun thing to do. So maybe I will do that. If you've made it this far, because this is a really long video and I'm so sorry, I think I'll work on that just to kind of give you guys something, because if you've made it through the end of the book, you guys deserve something for everything that I've put you through so far. So I will work on that in the next little while, of giving you this scene that never made it in there, and I'll throw it on my website and you guys can enjoy that until book 2 comes out eventually. But yeah, give me like 5 seconds. I will finish this. I'm terrible at these get ready with me's because I never actually give you guys every step. I just need to do like mascara on my lips and then I'll be right back. And voila, that's my routine. I mean, at least 75% of it, of whatever you saw. If you've made it this far, thanks. I know TikTok is not made for these long videos. I mean, at least people's attention spans are not made for these long. So if you made it this far, thanks. If you didn't, obviously you're not seeing this, so I don't know. I don't blame you. So anyways, if you've read Unraveling Ember, you'll understand why, like, this is kind of cool to see, I guess, or in my opinion, why it's cool to see this scene and how it didn't make it in here. If you haven't read it, then I think it is also equally as cool to see the scene that inspired a book that you may be starting, and then see something that won't be in the book that you're about to read. But hopefully it'll inspire you to read it, because I still think that everything that's in here is still equally as cool. And like I said, I think I still will be writing it, just so you guys will see it. And yeah. Thanks for hanging out with me, if you did, and if you didn't, that's fine. But yeah, ciao.